and welcome back to the Manga Lair. Now, if you're just here for the manga, go ahead and zip to any of the timestamps down below. They'll be for each of the different shelves based on how I would say that they'd be called. Some of the publishers are a bit mixed up, so there might be a little list in a section. They're just kind of all mixed together, still in alphabetical order though. For those who quickly want to hear some stats though, over the course of this year, this manga library has grown from just under 550 volumes of manga and just over 100 volumes of light novel to now just over 850 volumes of manga and roughly the same amount of light novels. There has been a few added, but not enough to drastically affect the number. Meaning, roughly in this room, there's over 950 volumes of the books. But with that, let's get on to the manga. Starting off with the Viz Media shelf, we have Angel Sanctuary volumes 1 through 9, same as last year. I've actually read through the entire series this year, and I don't know how I feel about this series. I might continue to collect it just to get the rest of them because I already have the first 9, but I don't know yet. Next to that, we have Black Clover volumes 1 through 18. This is a series where I really couldn't get into the anime, but I could totally fine get into the manga. I've enjoyed it, and I periodically... Oh, this isn't even 1 through 18, I've just noticed. I'm missing 16, 17. That's actually because I picked these up at a used bookstore, and they didn't have all the volumes, so I'm missing 16, 17. I'm gonna have to make sure I have that written down somewhere so I know to order that in the future. Next to that, Call of the Night, volumes 1 through 9. I loved this series when I watched the anime. I watched the first episode and decided, might as well go read the manga. And now I'm here with all of it up to date, as of me recording this at least. And I gotta say, it stays just as good. If you like the anime, you'll like the manga. And next to that, the very first volume of Dorohedoro. I got this on sales at some point, and it's a very interesting series. It's about a man who's transformed into a lizard person, but his head is still inside of the lizard mouth. It's weird, it's odd, it's cool. Next to that, Dr. Stone, volumes 1 through 23. This series is about to conclude. It's still an amazing series, just like last time, and once it goes through, I'm gonna probably binge read the entire series again. Moving on, we have Dragon Ball Super, volumes 1 through 12 on this shelf, and moving down to the next one, 13 through 16. I think this is just barely off of date. As last time, I enjoyed Dragon Ball as a series. Super has been hit or miss sometimes, but I'm enjoying the most recent art. Next to that, Fly Me to the Moon, volumes 1 through 13, and Free Reign of the End, 1 through 5. This is a new series about an elf who's, living the elf life of living a lot longer than any normal human, and was originally in an adventuring party with a couple of other people, and now it's her life after all of that, with all of these people now, coming to the end of their lifespan, and her having to, realize that life is different for people that don't live as long as she does. How Do We Relationship? Haven't collected any more of that since last year because still don't know how I feel about that. Next to that, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3. Just like before, the other first 2 parts are on a different shelf, and I haven't gotten any more of these because I haven't seen a really good sale with them on, so I haven't gotten any more of them yet. Next to that, Jujutsu Kaisen volumes 0 through 6 on this shelf. Next to it, 7 through 12. Jujutsu Kaisen really does pick up after you get past where the anime covered, and especially after the movie. And yeah, it's just a nice series. Next to that, Kaiju number 8, volumes 1 through 4. Just as before, you like kaiju fights, you're gonna like this. I like the underlying story too of all the other characters that are in this show that aren't just the kaiju. Next to that, Komi Can't Communicate 1 through 22, and Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible volumes 1 through 3. Both of these manga are very wholesome. Moving down a shelf, we have volumes 1 through 23 of Love is War. Love is War is still Love is War, even after everything that's happened. And I know it's at this point getting towards the end of the series, as the series has been fully completed in Japanese, so looking forward to getting the last few volumes of that. Next to that, volumes 1 through 10 of My Hero Academia. Next shelf, 11 through 32. This series is also reaching its endpoint. There's a lot of these series that are on this shelf that are reaching an endpoint, where once they're over, man, this shelf is really going to be empty when I move it over to the other shelf. And next to that, My Hero Vigilantes 1 through 12. I think this is the entire series. There might actually be a 13. I'm not 100% sure right now. I'll have to look into that, but this was a really enjoyable series. Moving down to the final 2 shelves, we have volume 1 through 25 of Nisekoi. I'm almost certain none of them are missing. If there's something on the screen, that means I noticed something in editing, but this should be every single volume of Nisekoi. and I literally just got these volumes within the last 3 or 4 days, so I haven't had a chance to go through all of the new ones that have been added to this, but now I have them all, unlike last time. Next to that are the 3-in-1s of both One Piece and Evangelion, and beside that, volumes 1 through 6 of One Punch Man. On to the next shelf, 7 through 13. As I said, One Punch Man is a very fun series. I've gotten more of them, especially because some of them have been at a used bookstore. Moving on, we have Persona 5, the manga edition. I played through the entire game and decided, might as well collect the manga too, just to see what they choose to adapt in that and what they choose not to. And then moving on, we have Sakamoto Days 1 through 3, Spy Family 1 through 7, and Way of the House Husband 1 through 8, wrapping up the Viz Media shelf. All of these are fantastic series. Give them all a try if you haven't. Moving on up, we have the box sets. A Silent Voice, Death Note, Demon Slayer, the original Dragon Ball Z, Tokyo Ghoul Re, Tokyo Ghoul, Nisekoi, Full Metal Alchemist, the second and third box sets of Monogatari, and Pokemon Adventures. All the box sets are currently getting moved to a new location up on that other shelf where the other ones are. Haven't finished moving them yet. Enjoy all of the series here, and the reason that they can't be out of their box is because I do not have any rooms on the shelf, as you will probably see as this goes on. Moving on to the light novel shelf, we have Adachi and Shimura 1 through 4, and Classroom of the Elite 1 through 5. Gotta say, I don't have any more volumes of Classroom of the Elite, but as I said last time, I was gonna wait to form my opinion, and I gotta say, even as this goes on, it has actually gotten more enjoyable. I've even gone back and even the older ones have made me realize, yeah, I kinda do enjoy these. Next to that, Didn't I say to make my abilities average in the next life, and I want to eat your pancreas? And that is followed by all of Konosuba, volumes 1 through 17. Next to that, Katanagatari, next to the first season of Monogatari novels. Katanagatari isn't a Monogatari novel, but it's by the same author, so I thought I'd group them all together so I kind of know where to look for them. Haven't gotten into Katanagatari, I actually got that very recently, but I'm excited to see how a different work by the same author will compare. Next up, we have No Game No Life volumes 1 through 9 on this part of the shelf, and then 10 through 11 and Practical War Games on this shelf. No Game No Life has just received this 11th volume, actually. Haven't gotten a chance to read it as I just got it in the mail. I actually just got a shipment very recently to this video, kind of like last time. So there's a few of these newer ones at the end of series, or a few volume 1s that I haven't read yet because I've just gotten them. But I'm excited to see, how the stories continue, or how they begin. Next to that, the Rascal Does Not Dream Of series, volumes 1 through 8. Volume 9 is actually just about to release, time me recording this, so about to add to that. And I gotta say, after what was covered, Volume 8 is finally a new part of the series that has not been covered anywhere, and it continues on being the same series. Next to that, ReZero's Volume 1 through 19, and The Rising of the Shield Hero, Volume 1. Rounding out the shelf, we have Solo Leveling 1 and 2, and all of Toradora. Moving on to the shelf without a name, because it actually includes 3 separate publishers, we have Attack on Titan, the Colossal Edition, and volumes 1 through 10 of Attack on Titan Before the Fall. Next to that, we have the Monogatari Manga, volume 1 through 15. I actually have 16 floating around somewhere, but I've been rearranging a lot of stuff, as you could probably tell from the difference last time. And I don't actually know where 16 is right now. Gonna have to find that. Next to that, the Bofuri Manga, 1 through 4. And Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro 1 through 4, followed by volumes 5 through 13. Next to that, Kakegurui, volumes 1 through 15, and Kakegurui Twins 1 through 6, and 7 through 12. Then next to that, Miyako-chan 1 through 5, and My Youth Romantic Comedy Snafu 1 through 10, as well as Sank Young Man 1 through 3, and That Time I Was Reincarnated as Slime, volumes 1 through 8, moving down, 9 through 19, as well as both of its spin-offs, The Way of the Monster Nation, and Trinity and Tempest, volumes 1 through 4 and 1 through 5 respectively. I really haven't talked about much on this shelf. A lot of this shelf is continuing series that I've basically have the same opinions on as last time, and they have only received a volume or 2 more since the last time I talked about them, so there's not really much more to add to it. Finally, we are on to the completed shelves. These are all series of manga that I own either the entirety of their series, or I own enough of it that I wouldn't have to move it around. This is basically my shelf of don't need to add to put new manga in. Starting off, we have 20th Century Boy. Last time I only had 2 volumes. This time I have everything plus 21st Century Boy. And I've been enjoying the series. It's been a very nice read, if I could call it that. It's been a very fun experience reading this novel. And though I'm not even completely done, I think think I'm somewhere in the 8th of these volumes. I do really like to see how this ends, and I'm glad I got all of them. Next to that, Act Age, finally with Volume 1 and Volume 2. I just got Volume 1. I'm so shocked about that I actually found it for just overprinted price. That's amazing. I actually have both these volumes that are no longer printed because of the author's actions. And it's nice to have them existing on my shelf as something to say, look, I have this rare manga. And I'm going to read it, and I'm going to see if I enjoy it. And if I do, I'm going to hate the author even more, because they did something to make it so the series couldn't continue. Next to that, Assassination Classrooms Volume 1 through 9, onto the next shelf, 10 through 21. And next to that, Chainsaw Man Volume 1 through 11. I know technically they're continuing on with Volume 12 now that the new stuff is out, but I still consider this the original Chainsaw Man. It gets to stay on this shelf. It was an amazing series, full of so many twists and turns. If you haven't read it, you should go read it. Next to that, Goodnight Poon Poon 1 through 6. Moving on down here to 7. I haven't read all of these. This is also going to become a recurring theme with stuff that I said last year I haven't read any of. I have, though, read the first 4 volumes of it, and this is such an odd experience to go through. And there's so many relatable things, not relatable things at all. It's just been such a fun ride. Next to that, Hetalia, Volume 1 through 6, and Horimiya, Volume 1 through 15. 16 is finally coming out this year. I will finally actually have them all on my shelf, and that'll be cool. Next to that, How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend, 1 through 3, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. Just missing 4, then that'll be done. The series is exactly what you would expect from a manga in this genre, but doesn't stop me. There's only 8 volumes, and I'm only missing 1 at this point. Next to that, parts 1 and 2 of JoJo, continuing onto this shelf, and volumes 1 through 5 of the Megumin spin-off. As well, Madoka Magica and its spin-off, No Game No Life Please 1 through 4, and all of Orange, so the first 2 volumes, and Orange Future. I haven't read Future yet, but the original story of Orange was a story that I enjoyed enough that I'm gonna have to go read Future to see what Future is at this point. Next to that, we have Platinum Ends 1 through 13, moving down onto the next shelf, 14. After going through the series in its entirety, I've got to say, that ending was so out of nowhere, and yet not out of nowhere, that I'm just gonna keep it. Gonna go back when I completely forget about this, and re-experience it, and probably have the exact same reaction. Next to that, The Promised Neverland 1 through 20. This is everything The Promised Neverland. I know its ending was off, but I still enjoy it nevertheless. Especially that first arc, and the completely skipped in the anime arc. Next to that, the Quintessential Quintuplets 1 through 14. And moving on to the next shelf, Wotakoi, volumes 1 through 6. I've been enjoying that romantic comedy series. It's kind of fun. Next up, we have Weathering with You 1 through 3, Your Name 1 through 3, and Your Name Another Side, Earthbound, volumes 1 and 2. And finally, Yu-Gi-Oh! More volumes than last time, still not all of them. But soon enough, I know, I will have them all, and then I could start getting more of the series. And then moving down to the final 2 shelves, we have another one of those shelves I don't know how to name. Starting off with Berserk 1 and 2. I have read both of these volumes completely through now, and the art is just so amazing. I'm gonna get more of these, but they're just so expensive. But they're just it's such a good story that I wish that the author could have had time in his lifetime to complete, to just see what his vision was for the end. But at this point, I don't even know where it could possibly be going at this point. Next to that, the 2-in-1s of Darling in the Franxx. I'm still yet to see exactly how this is gonna change, if at all, from what the anime did, but I don't know how I feel about them currently. They come wrapped in plastic for a reason, I gotta say. My Dress Up Darling, volumes 1 through 6, Dragon Maid 1 through 5, The Great Jahi-sama Will Not Be Defeated 1, 2, and 3, High Score Girl 1 through 9. This is almost completely up to date. Inside Mari 1 and 2, Mishoku Tensei 1, 2, 3, and then 4 through 7, as well as its spin-off, Roxy Gets Serious 1 and 2. Mushoku Tensei I enjoyed. The manga is currently, at least what I own, not ahead of the anime in the slightest. But I've enjoyed reading the spin-offs and enjoyed seeing how the manga portrayed what happened, especially because the light novels are something I do not have any room for right now, and have just kind of read bits and pieces of them online. Next to that, the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. God, there's so many reallys in that title. The Reprise of the Shield Hero volumes 1 through 7. The Rising of the Shield Hero 1 through 18. And finally, just as last time, When Will Ayuma Make His Move? But this time, volume 1 through 6, with this extra volume right here. Just being another copy of volume 3 flipped around as a bookend currently. And with that That's all the books that are in the library. I know that there's some series that I kind of just skipped over or kind of covered very briefly. That's because I either A, talked about them last year and wanted to just focus on the new things, or B, completely forgot as I was skipping through some of them to mention something about it because I didn't. Any of those, feel free to ask down in the comments below. But with that, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.